Let's roll, rolling Atlas Thug. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we won't be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.
All right, all right.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. What is going on? King Solo Wings is here. We can now start the show. What's up, fellas? What's up, Jamie? What's up, TNT? King Solo Wings. Everybody
We can start early. King got here.
We can start early. Usually it's like halfway through the show, then we can finally get started.
Right? Yeah, happy to be here. Hope everybody's having a good Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We're going to try something which we attempted to try when I was by myself. But we will take call-ins throughout this show. Figured we're going to have fun with this one today. We're going to do that through Discord. So if anybody wants to, obviously let one of us know via DM, tag us, put it in the chat here. I'll go look for it in Discord and bring you on. Yeah,
of course. And I see Jamie mentioned that she saw us in the green room in the Discord before the show, and she almost joined. Yeah, anytime you're welcome to join us. We're in there, and I think we're going to start doing that a little bit more before the show starts, just for a little bit of interaction with you guys, as we kind of set up the thumbnail and discuss what's going on and stuff like that. A little bit of a inside benefit to the Discord. So if you're interested in that, we do have the link in the description, and you're more than welcome to join us and participate. All that good stuff. So you should have joined us, Jamie. Yep. That'd have been fun. Don't ever think, oh, I don't know if they're busy or whatever. You know what I mean? If we don't want to be accessed, we won't go in there and join the chat.
Right. Actual.
Yeah.
But that's the room, definitely. If you do want to come on and talk to us, the green room is the channel to be in. If I see you, we have a privately locked one. So I'll basically will just drag whoever wants to come on, drag you into the private room, probably chat for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next caller. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me keep my eye on it. All right. Russia's going for all of Ukraine. Yeah, I know it's some weird stuff going on over there. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was, it intensified, right? And I think you have some weird rhetoric coming out from, but at least I saw from Trump was a little odd. Seems like for whatever reason, we're shifting blame towards Putin. But at this rate, you get a failed assassination attempt. You get extra usage of certain missiles. I mean, I don't see this stopping anytime soon. I think everyone basically was kind of settled on this issue, especially when we were, right after the election results of Trump. Basically, everybody was like, oh, okay. In a matter of weeks, we'll get a peace deal and this will be over. And it's not happened yet. And seemingly the escalations are getting worse, which isn't a good sign, especially when you're looking at other BRICS nations too, like obviously with the escalation and conflict there with Iran. It's definitely a bit worrisome, but as World put in the title, yep, thanks Obama.
Exactly. Hope y'all got a kick out of that part. I love the thanks Obama. Always cracks me up. Hey, what's up, just me? Good to see you.
Yeah, what is up?
Oh yeah. Meant to tell TNT happy birthday on his actual birthday. My bad. Hope you had a good one there, TNT. I know it was last Thursday. All right. What is today? Today's Monday. It was Saturday, right? Or Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it was
Well, happy
Sunday.
belated birthday. TNT said he turned what, 79?
52, I believe, actually.
Congrats, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday. Okay. Yeah, it was the day after our last show. I'm losing track. So what is today? Yeah, today's Monday. All right. I'm all bamboozled. Oh yeah, I meant to turn that off earlier.
We said no phones in the classroom.
No phones. What are you doing? Turn your ringers off. If you're gonna at least try to sneak the phone in. King Solo Wing said, "Happy 69th."
That's funny. Yeah, and as always, make sure you smash the like button. Helps us tremendously. Probably is the single most important thing you can do outside of subscribing, obviously.
Of course, like, share, follow, all that good stuff. Comment.
Send it to your cat lady aunt who won't shut the up about stuff. Yeah.
All that good stuff. For sure. Faux show. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. What's going on? The over in Ukraine with Putin. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but the French President Macron was slapped by his, was she 79 or 80? 80
No, his husband.
80. Well, yeah, 80-year-old significant other.
Yeah.
Candace Owens has some pretty funny opinions. I say funny, but I mean, it's funny on the surface, but then she's got a long list of justification and explanation for her theories that the wife of the president of France is actually a man. King Soloing says his husband, of course.
I think that, Brigitte has a stronger claim to being a man than Big Mike does at this point. I think we're seeing more and more just in the last 2 years alone. I think obviously most people probably, take on Big Mike as a joke. Others don't. This one, I think it's getting to the point where for me personally, it's like, that's definitely a man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not even, no joking anymore. I personally think that Brigitte Macron is a man. That's me personally. No one else has to agree, but man, that looked like a man hitting another man in that video.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. And then what else we got? We have, of course, I say of course, but we have the Duck Dynasty star, kind of founder, Phil Robertson, died. And his story, his life has been pretty cool journey. He went to school at Louisiana Tech, was actually the starting quarterback over Terry Bradshaw, elected to go duck hunting instead of going into the NFL. And ironically, you think, oh, it cost him all the money and the fame, but really he just traded it for a different version of money and fame.
Right.
And I saw a clip of him earlier today talking about it, and I couldn't find it. It was one of those random ones that comes through when you're scrolling and then you just can't find it again ever. And he was talking about how Bradshaw chased the Bucks and he chased the Ducks, and we both ended up pretty happy in the end, I think. And I think he actually invented some new duck calls, some groundbreaking, revolutionary duck calls, and lived his life the way I think a lot of men would actually like to spend their lives. Had a bunch of land, hunted, raised 4 boys, married his high school sweetheart, had some ups and downs along the way. It wasn't a perfect picture or anything like that. You can actually learn about that in the movie that they made about him. Just generally a cool dude, and spent the last years of his life really dedicated to the Lord, and inspirational figure. And it's sad that he's gone. So rest in peace to Phil Robertson.
Yeah, and in that same frame, obviously today being Memorial Day, obviously the whole idea is to remember those that we've lost. So I've seen a lot of individuals posting men in their lives, brothers, fathers, uncles, sons, who unfortunately lost their lives overseas, largely, obviously given the forever wars in the last 20 years. But again, the sacrifice that a lot of those guys made during their prime years, we might not look too fondly over what the government's reasoning was over the last 20, 30, 40 years, but still a lot of those brothers believed that they were doing the right thing. And I think in that aspect, want to make sure you remember those who are fallen, and especially those who never came home.
Yeah, of course, certainly. Our country is built on this foundation of dudes that too many to be named, and names we'll never know, and names that have been forgotten, that paid the ultimate price for us to sit here and do what we're doing, and for everybody to be in the position that they are today. So yes, definitely remembering those folks, and
Right. No, exactly. They blew up all them people in Afghan for me. Me.
well, some of the more recent stuff maybe didn't pave the way or set the foundation, but I don't know. I don't condemn even the more recent guys or anything like that. They were fighting for our country. I believe they all had that good intention in mind when they set in. Maybe some people are killers and wanted to do it legally. You know what I mean? But
Right.
good for them. Good for them if they did it like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The right way, right? It's like Dexter, but in the military. This is the right way to do it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I know we got a lot of veterans in the audience as well, so appreciate you guys and everything, all that good stuff as well. So what am I gonna do first? Where's the outline? I lost track.
Well, we got a couple of smaller ones, right? And I'm curious. I would like to ask the audience, because this was new to me, but apparently it was big enough to write a news story on it. Has anybody heard of trans broken arm syndrome? Because
I had not heard of it. That's a brand new one on me too, I gotta admit.
yeah, I'd never heard of that either. And I saw a tweet from Rodney Gaines. She wrote, like, I went off this ride. And I believe it's Pink News, or the company Pink. They do like a lot of like female and like beauty and stuff like that. They wrote a post today, and we'll probably put it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. Riley Gaines Twitter or the other?
Yeah, it's
okay, I see it.
Right there, yeah, underneath top of the hour. They wanted people to remember, and I believe this was posted today on Memorial Day of all days, for to bring awareness to trans broken arm syndrome. I promise you, I have no idea what this means. I really have no idea, bro.
What is trans broken arm syndrome and how we can help stop it? Well, maybe not sleep with somebody under false pretenses or something like that. You don't end up with a broken arm, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. No, I really have no idea what this is built on.
Me either. I'm assuming, like, it even says, right, like, that's the headline there. You may have heard of it, but what is it? It's like, I've never heard of this ever. I don't even want to know what it is either.
How broken brain syndrome instead.
Yeah.
Like they just ask the question and they don't even actually explain it.
What is trans?
Look at this person. Like,
that's good. That's good stuff.
Someone unplug Earth and plug it back in, please. That's actually really clever.
It's insanity, man. Insanity. But I was just curious if anybody in chat had literally any idea what the heck that was. I just figured we would ask you guys. You guys are a little bit gayer than we are, so I figured somebody's got to know out there.
Broke arm mountain coming.
Broke arm mountain.
Broke arm mountain coming soon.
That's funny.
It means the skin taken for private parts, Jamie said.
Interesting.
So they use the cast and everything, but it's really not broken. It's
that makes more sense. They use the cast to hide what their arm looks like.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's even more disgusting than I thought it would be.
Right. Jamie noted on the head right there. Of all days, they make it about them, F-tards. Yeah.
Right.
Ugh. All right. Well, thank you, chat. Moving on. I really grossed out.
Yeah.
So apparently the CIA secretly ran a Star Wars fan website to send hidden messages to spies.
Yeah.
What
That was
is
the other
this?
one that blew me away.
What is this? I can't really read these things. This is crazy. So this is the
Yeah, it was,
website apparently.
yeah, it would be a fan website, and so apparently they would embed different messages on different hyperlinks there, for people to go and get information from, like a very coded way to send messages back and forth off of, not on a platform or text message. And I'm assuming they both had access to the code behind, or all the individuals involved had access to the code. So they probably, to send a message, would go in there, rewrite something on the page, or change a hyperlink to a different thing, to a different, reroute it, and then
Yeah.
set it. And they probably would come and check every so often to see if there are any messages added there, which is just wild. It shows the lengths the CIA is willing to go to for intelligence cover up there.
Yeah, for real. I mean, clever, but if they're whatever they're using it for, I guess is kind of matters. But I'll assume it was against the United States American people, but I really don't know.
It's funny. Apparently, that if you go to the article now, or you try to go to the website now, it takes you straight to the CIA website.
Oh wow! So and then somebody asked, "Grok, is this true?" And then it says reports suggest the CIA used a Star Wars fan website, Star Wars Beyond the Unknown, to send hidden messages to spies, as noted by 404 Media and Reuters. Security flaws in these sites compromised informants, raising ethical concerns about exploiting fan communities and potential legal issues. While evidence supports the claim, the CIA's lack of official response leaves some uncertainty. Well, of course, they're not going to admit it.
No.
But yeah, that's pretty wild. And what
I
were
know,
you
I like
saying?
how Grok's like, it seems likely that it probably is true. It's like, that's not a definite answer.
Yeah, right. Pretty wild.
Right. But just again, this is like the timeline we live in, right?
Does this count as official lore or just fan content?
Yeah, this is owned by Disney now. This is Disney Star Wars, as the CIA was working with them.
So TNT says, so they make Star Wars gay as hell, then use fan site to control spies. Brilliant.
They
Let's ruin
gamified it.
franchise so we can have privacy, right? They wanted to just use the site, but didn't want anybody on it.
Yeah, we got to make it gay first. No man, it's really no man's going to come to this website now.
This is funny. It says execute order 66.
I actually met someone earlier today who had never seen the prequels of Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I had to explain episode 3 to him. He's like, I don't understand like why it came back in theaters, man. Like, I thought people didn't like these. I'm like, you had to have been there. Yeah, you had to have
Right.
been there when it originally dropped back in the day. That was a beautiful moment for cinema.
Right. Are you talking about the one where they went back, like the 4th, 5th, and 6th ones that they actually made, but they were the first 3 in the sequence?
So it's yeah, they were made 4, 5, and 6, but actually in
Okay.
chronological order, that's 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
They
Yeah, I remember
recently-
that. I worked
'cause
at
they-
Taco Bell back then, and they used to give out like the Star Wars like drink cups, and they had the pogs and
That's
the
awesome.
lids and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, they put it back in theaters, like, I think, 2 weeks ago? They even you brought in Hayden Christensen for a bunch of promo,
Oh,
to put it back in there,
that's cool.
and it did
Didn't know that.
decently well too. Like, people went back to theaters and watch it.
That's
Um,
cool.
and that was the thing, like, that was because the biggest kind of, I guess, what do you call that, cliffhanger or, like, plot twist is actually in 3 to 4. It's, like, at the end of 3 to 4, which is what, would have been the final in that trilogy as it was released in the prequels. But
Right.
you're talking, most people had only seen 4, 5, and 6, and if you weren't that into the lore of the canon, you probably hadn't connected the dots yet that, like, Anakin was Darth Vader.
Right.
And so like that was like the big reveal in episode 3 is you're watching Anakin, and most people probably connected it halfway through the movie. You're like, oh, I see where this is going. And then obviously Anakin betrays everybody because he wants to protect his wife and his kids. And ultimately, like that's what's caused him to be Vader when Obi-Wan tosses him into the lava, or he cuts him up and he falls into the lava. And that's why he disfigured.
Right. Loses his arm and both legs, I think, and then
Yeah.
the Emperor has to put him back together. Reborn as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Actually, Darth Vader a little bit before that, but you know.
In one strike too. They do it frame by frame, and you can see Obi-Wan go tss, tss, and his arm and legs are just gone in that single frame because I have the high ground, don't do it. And he does it, and then he loses almost all of his limbs.
Yep. Oh, good old Star Wars. I love those movies, I gotta admit. Some people didn't like them because of the Jar Jar Binks factor and stuff, but I don't know. I just accept it for what it is. I think it's funny though how throughout those movies it's kind of like the different races of alien or species kind of match like different races or ethnicities on Earth. Like the what is it? The Viceroy. They sound like they're Japanese, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they all kind of have like their own like unique sounds. Pretty funny. Kind of reminds me of the same thing of what's going on Earth.
Yeah, the separatists.
Yep. Elmo says, I still think Jar Jar was going to be a Sith. He secretly was a Sith the entire time.
That fan theory went so big they added Darth Jar Jar Binks into Fortnite.
Really? That's cool. I've never even heard that.
Yeah, they added a dual one. So like it's a skin, I think, but he has 2 versions. He has the dark side version, then he's got the light side. Misa Jar Jar, like the light, the normal version of him.
The goofy Jamaican guy. He's just the goofy Jamaican guy.
Right.
What's up, Andrea? Good to see you. Thought you forgot about us.
Interesting. Throwing shade, man.
No, I'm just teasing. It's good to see you. So, anyways, we got this whole World War III assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. And got this one from Benny Johnson. Breaking: Putin's team shot down drones in an apparent assassination attempt while he was in a helicopter. I hate to say it, but no presidents, especially of the United States, should be riding in helicopters. They're just so dangerous. But I know there's like a presidential helicopter, and I get nervous whenever he flies in it. But
right. Well, most people are terrified that he's going to get into that plane that was, delivered to the. I think what they sent it right to the military, but I think they're not going to accept it. So he's going to buy it personally. The one that came from Qatar, like that $400 million one they built.
Oh yeah, the jet.
Air Force One. Yeah.
Jimbo jet. So yeah, Putin's helicopter fended off a drone attack. The Russian leader's recent visit to Kursk region drew fire from Ukrainian UAVs. It emerges. So yeah, this number one comment here says Zelensky just won't stop poking the bear, and Ukrainians will pay a heavy price for it. Not that he cares. If you're going to take a shot at the king, you had better not miss. If the people of Ukraine want to survive this war, they need new leadership. A free and fair election would be preferable, but at this point, all options should be on the table. Look, at this point, Russia is not going to give up any of the land that they've taken, and Ukraine needs to just negotiate and give it up. Otherwise, Russia might just go ahead and push forward. The reasons for Russia to stop is they're running out. You know what I mean? And it's
because
just one of
we're
those
asking nicely.
One of those things where it's just like, why? What's in it for Russia? They're winning the war. They have way more manpower, and I don't know. They're just. It's like Trump said to Zelensky, "You really have no cards without the United States, especially." And Trump is kind of backing off from the support there, and he's even backing off his support from Netanyahu too. So it's gonna be an interesting little scenario as Israel wants to escalate their war there, and the United States kind of is wavering in their support for Ukraine, which they never should have done in the first place. The Ukraine conflict would have been over years ago if we didn't hold it up by proxy. So, I mean,
right. And
just get it over with at this point.
Yeah, and dump money into it.
Yeah,
I am at the point where, just let them kill each other. Like, if I was president, I'd be like, hey, you know what?
That's what they want to do, man.
Just kill you guys. Just kill each other. Like, we don't, like, I don't care anymore. Like, we tried talking to you. You're both insane. Just kill each other, and we'll pick up the pieces, and we'll figure out what we need to do afterwards. All right, have fun, guys. Like, maybe it's not like you just need to toss something in like that. Just quit. Just pull away from the table. Be like, we're not even going to moderate this anymore. Especially if, like, for Ukraine, right? Like, we if we walk away from the table, what happens then? I mean, you're on your own. Yeah, let the UN step in. Let them use all of the money that they got from us anyways to go fight your war.
I mean, it makes sense that the UN would fit more of the bill anyways. It's it's infringing on their borders more so than ours in the first place. So,
yeah,
the old Pierce Morgan thing that I brought up before is he always made this hard case, this hardline case that the United States should spare no expense to stop Putin's expansion. And it's like, why? Y'all are the ones that share the territory with him. This isn't a United States priority. We don't owe anybody over there that much to where we should spare no expense or even spend one American death on it. You know what I mean? But
right,
whatever.
And that's the key thing is, like, no more American souls being consumed by this military industrial complex garbage. Like, nope. And not even our money either. Right? And I agree with TNT. But yeah, we'll just I wouldn't even do that. I'd be like, we'll just we'll take from whoever. Once you say you win the war, right? Oh, that's awesome, but you're still gonna be weakened. Then we'll dominate you.
Win or lose, Ukraine's gonna owe us as far as that goes. And then if Russia wants to jump in and trade, then fine. At the same time Russia's fighting this war, apparently them and China are working on trying to set up a nuclear power plant on the moon. So, I mean, Russia is not being stretched thin with their resources by any means through this war. So you're not draining Russia's resources by prolonging this at all. I mean, it's just crazy.
Right. And I mean, what did people expect would happen? Right? You have two outcomes. You would have got him, right? Would have got Putin knocked clean off. I mean, the reality is another family steps in, or they just continue forward, and then it just becomes a faceless regime. That might have been almost maybe the best thing that could have happened, in terms of Russia winning the war, because now you don't have some big guy you can go point to and say, wow, he's the most tyrannical person on the planet. And they just keep on marching on, and they're like, actually, we all agreed with what Putin wanted to do. And you see that reflected too when people go in Russia and they're like, how do you feel about Putin? And they're like, oh, we love him. It's like they're cool with him for the most part. And then, but what we got is a fail. And so now it looks like Ukraine's left caught red-handed, trying to send UAVs that were unsuccessful. And I'm unsure of how they were taken out. I believe there was an envoy. So I think it was like a couple of attack helicopters, and I forget what else was accompanying Putin up there. But now you look just like idiots, and you lose all your defense, right? Like, at this point, it's like, nah,
right.
Like, I don't care what Russia does to you. You've soiled the PR narrative, if you will. Now no one cares. Well, people probably still care, but I think most people have just lost all empathy now. It's like we're just so tired of seeing it and hearing it and watching old men die in trenches. It's like, just wrap it up, guys.
100%. 100%. So Alex Jones has now massed at least 50,000. Oh, well, he posted, not Alex Jones has. Oh, my bad. Russia has now, he posted this. So Alex Jones now has at least 50,000 Russian troops on the border. No, I'm sorry. Alex Jones posted this, that Russia has now massed at least 50,000 troops on its border with Ukraine after a failed assassination attempt against President Putin using drones. Breaking. An attempt on Vladimir Putin's life was unsuccessful after a swarm of Ukrainian drones targeted his presidential helicopter during a visit to Kursk Oblast. I don't know. Probably said it wrong, but maybe I said it right. But here, let's hear this audio.
И во время данной атаки в Курской области работал...
Oh, they're speaking in a different language. The president was
Just
working in the
basically him
and
laying
the
out.
enemy launched an unprecedented attack with unmanned aerial vehicles. The air defense forces in this area destroyed 46 unmanned aerial vehicles of the aircraft type. Please note that the intensity of the attack during the flight and the Supreme Commander and the Chief's aircraft over the territory of the Kursk region increased significantly. Therefore, we simultaneously conducted anti-aircraft combat and ensured the safety of the presidential helicopter in the air. The task was accomplished. The enemy drone attack was repelled, and all air targets were hit. So, pretty money, apparently, for whatever it was that they used. Thing.
Right. Imagine being that too, right?
And so now Putin's pissed. Yeah. Put 50,000 troops on the border. And that's the thing about this too. I'm sorry to cut you off a little bit, but that's the thing about this scenario that I feel like Russia hasn't even really tried. They started off the war using like their old tanks and just basically used up a lot of their old war equipment that they weren't even like breaking into their new technology, their new equipment, anything like that. And they might be by now, because it's been a while that the war has been going on. You only got old equipment that lasts so long. I remember that NATO sent in a bunch of like old tanks and shit like that. So they're basically just fighting with old equipment on both sides. And, we've seen how Russia has advanced and Ukraine has not defended their own territory well enough to maintain it.
Right.
And then, like I said, I've felt the whole time that Russia really wasn't even trying. You know what I mean? Like, just it's like, and once they actually try, it's going to look a lot different. And so I feel like they've kind of showed their strength, their restraint as well, because, the adage that, once again, Pierce Morgan, Putin, he'll say Putin is saber rattled and threatened nuclear, defenses, use of nuclear weapons multiple times and never done it. And he's not going to. He's a wuss, basically, is what he's saying. And I say, well, Putin just knows where he is strategically, and he doesn't need to use the big guns. But if you push the bear and question his restraint and show no respect for, the intelligence of the guy that you're fighting against, then you're destined to lose. And this was a stupid move by Ukraine. If it's a false flag by Russia so that they can just foot on the gas, it's probably a good move on their part, because nobody's gonna condemn them after, for acting retaliatory after an assassination attempt, right? I mean, everybody's look at what's going on with Ben Shapiro's favorite country in their retaliation attempt, and that wasn't even on their president. It was just the reaction to October 7th. So I mean,
right. Well, I mean, in a broader perspective, I mean, think about how insane it is that you have all of these countries all over the globe that we know are corrupt, adopting like the global homo order, and we're wondering like, hey, why isn't Russia listening to us? And it's like, oh, you mean the country that's opposed to literally everything you believe and espouse? Like, man, I wonder why like they're not listening to you or don't take you at your word for it.
Right. The country that the Democrats have said is our number one enemies for nearly a decade or more now, probably, honestly. But
right. No, exactly. And then add into the fact too, like even us as America, right? Like I don't hate America, but I'm definitely well aware of all of the, grief that America has caused overseas. That's why it's like this whole, this global power telling all the other countries like how they should behave and act. It's like, listen, dude, everyone up here's got dirt on them, bro. Like nobody needs to have no one does have any moral high ground here. Like, sorry to say, and like that's where like at the end of the day, it's like this whole thing with negotiation and like to virtue. Right, like maybe we can negotiate on virtue and morality. It's like, I'm sorry, every single country has differing morality than each other, and half of them hate each other, and they think like they have territory disputes and all that. I just think again, you know, the average person, once again, to not repeat myself a million times, is literally retarded. And so they have like this super child's play like outlook on these things. And it just lacks so much context. And, you know, here we are with the framing, right? And I thought Charlie Kirk, you know,
Yeah.
this is another debate, but he got destroyed on this, and for good reason, right? He's like, well, why don't we take morality, right? You know, I would call these people the good guy and these people the bad guy. And whoever he was debating was like, so you have the morality of a child? And like that was like, whoa, like I mean, like that was a burn, because that's exactly how kids view things. Like,
Right.
you know, sometimes they're both bad guys, right? And we're trying to pick between the pieces of like, well, at least what's the least bad solution? The framing of good versus bad only works in the perspective of Christian good and in truth versus pure evil and demonic, and, you know, things of demonic nature and satanic nature. Anything outside of that is like, yeah, you're using the morality of a child.
Yeah. Completely agree. Sorry, I'm dealing with hiccups again, so it's like trying to make me hiccup right when it's my time to talk. But
Yeah,
so we got this.
too.
So I don't know if I want to play the whole 6-minute clip here, just because we're doing a condensed show tonight. It's Memorial Day, so we just wanted to come on and hang out with you guys, see if anybody wanted to come on the show via the Discord green room. Looks like nobody's jumped in there so far, which is fine. But
Yeah.
we just wanted to be available to you guys for a little bit before we go back to spending time with the family. So like I said, we're just probably going to be around for another 20-30 minutes or something like that, and then call it a Monday, and then you know, just so people know what to expect. By the way, meant to lead off with that.
Yeah. Yes. If you want to talk, definitely get in here. Get in here now.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
So
curious to see what you gay boys sound like, and gay women too.
That's funny.
We tried to be nice. Now we have to be the bad guys.
Right. So, before the show, don't show it. Okay, I had to pause it. So this story here about the French President Macron is pretty wild. I didn't have this on my bingo card for this week or this year or whatever, but I'll take it because the dude's not my favorite person, that's for sure. And so I got this from Colin Rugg. French President Emmanuel Macron responds after he apparently got assaulted in the face by his wife Brigitte, I don't know, while stepping off of a plane in Vietnam. Macron was seen getting shoved in the face before getting off the plane as if nothing happened. Macron has since responded to the incident, saying he and his wife were just joking. There's a video showing me joking and teasing my wife, and somehow that becomes a sort of geoplanetary catastrophe, with people even coming up with theories to explain it. Well, that's funny because, you know, all we can go off of is what we've seen with our own eyes.
Right.
And it's funny, he included Macron met Brigitte when he was just 15 years old and she was nearly 40. He left out that she had 3 kids and was a school teacher.
Right.
But anyways, here's the video. Let's just watch the video here. I'm just muting it. Bam! Look at that face. You think they were just playing? And did this guy just get caught like with a bag of white powdery substance like this last week in a different video?
Yeah, on the train with Keir Starmer.
Oh, do we have that? Oh man, why'd the audio go back up? Do we have that? We might as well show it. This has been a sequence of video blunders. This guy's life is a wreck right now. His 80-year-old wife, who's 25 years older than him, just blasted him to the face with both hands. He turns, look at that look on his face. It's
do
too
my
bad.
best for cheat impersonation.
Chris, his wife is a man, so I bet that hurt like hell. Yeah, got the fingernails and the yeah, he did not look like it was joking, Jamie, at all. Look at that face right there.
No.
Elmo, well, she told him to make a sandwich. She, in quotes.
That's funny. No, that's the look of, oh, shoot, we're arguing in front of the cameras.
The cameras saw that. That's
Yeah.
that look right there. The cameras just seen that. And that's hilarious. That cracks me up. I'm just going to keep playing it.
Emmanuel, make me a sandwich.
It's the last thing he heard before his throat got thrown to the back of his body.
He's like, I can't. See, he wasn't, and that's the thing too. Look, he's not smiling, poking fun at her. You can tell there's no like ripples in his face. He said something to her, she got pissed and did what she normally does behind closed doors in front of the cameras. Excuse me, sir. Are you in trouble? Blink twice if you're in trouble at home. You don't have to say anything. Just blink. He's like calling the police, ordering pizzas. He's dialing 911 from the house and ordering large pizzas, which is actually a good tactic if you're domestically being abused. The dispatchers are trained to understand what's going on. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's just. I don't even know, man. Like, I hope they're the first to fall. It would be very karmic if, once again, France is the first nation. They're the ones that have to pull the white flag, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, we are being run by globalists. We surrender." It's like, guys, you did it again. Like,
he did the last little line. Where's it? Where'd it go? Okay, where'd it go?
Yeah.
There's the chat. That was you did all the Evan Coke reaction. She's like, you're supposed to leave one for me. Oh, that's hilarious.
No, that was the what do you mean you ate Taco Bell? That was that reaction. Yeah, their images are being destroyed. I worry about Emmanuel Macron's backside. That thing probably works too well.
Man. It's just so embarrassing. I love it.
Yeah, and it was if you want to do that one video, it's
Do you have it somewhere?
It's we'll just look up on X. It would be Macron, Starmer, Coke. I'm sure if you just type in those 3 words, you'll get it immediately.
All right.
Yeah, dude. It was the first thing. Oh yeah, dude.
If you guys hadn't seen this, we did post this in the Discord before, but I mean, we'll just go to this one right here. It shows you the images of the 2 things to keep your eye on once the video starts, right? Some people are claiming this is a wadded up napkin. I don't know what the excuse is for this, but apparently this is a spoon, and this is what you might think that it is, or is the accusation, but here's the video. They're speaking French, so we don't even know. We don't need to hear it. But I mean, look at the face, look at the reaction. This guy is an idiot.
Macron had the same reaction there too, where he like freezes, looks at the camera for a second, and then goes back to what he was doing.
They're all laughing. Actually, I will play the audio because they go from laughing, they realize what's on the table. They both guys go to grab, and then awkward silence. Like, what do we do now? One of those moments where all 3 of these guys thought like 5 million words in 2 seconds, and it lasted forever, that moment. But yeah, you can see both dudes go for the grab. Oop, grab. Quiet. No way. I don't think there's any other way. If you grabbed a napkin and whatever that other thing was, I thought it was some stuff like dashed on the table, and he just kind of went like and made it like spread apart and kind of dust away, right? You know what I mean? But apparently other people were saying that it was some type of spoon. But yeah,
they just would have straight like right in front of the camera, like, whoa, what was that? I letting that go to waste, man. Go to prison, brother.
The guy goes like this with his finger across it and then puts it in his mouth or whatever, like they do.
Yeah. He starts gumming it immediately.
Yeah,
into his mouth.
Yeah, whatever. Like,
I have no idea what that means, by the way.
Like the old detectives in the movies, they'd like put it in there and be like, "That's pure stuff."
There was some good stuff that we were just talking about Macron. That was a fantastic point there.
Right, but this dude is
serious.
this dude is not having a good time in front of the cameras lately. Let's just one more time. Doop, 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 doop. You didn't see that. And it's still in this hand. So he just puts it there and then he puts it in his pocket. What are you doing, cameraman? Yeah, you don't keep a napkin. He put it in his pocket. You see that he switched it from one hand to the other and then reached and put it in his pocket. They barely got it on film.
Yeah, the only person I've known who ever kept a napkin was my grandmother.
And Jerry Seinfeld, when he was trying to hide the mutton, he was pretending like he was eating the girlfriend's mutton, and so he took the napkins, but it ended up being her grandma's napkins, and so she had to count, and he got busted.
Yeah, yeah. I guess if you're gonna put some pizza rolls in your pocket, you probably should put them in some napkin, right? Don't put them in raw.
You go to one of them fancy restaurants, they're like, we don't have doggy bags or doggy, we don't do to-go boxes.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, I guess this fancy napkin's going to wrap up these 3 rolls that are going in my wife's purse because I am not letting those 3 things go to waste.
I'm telling you, I would have loved it, man. I don't know who that bald dude is. He's apparently a big wig or whatever, but man, he go right like dude, I would have cried. I would have had actually respect for him instead of like what they did here.
Did someone say pizza rolls?
That's right. It wasn't pizza rolls. It was tater tots. Why did I think of pizza rolls?
You're hungry? I don't know.
Probably because I'm hungry. Probably. Oh yeah, I do see a chat. Yeah, thank everybody for showing up on Sunday, with the new channel with Chris. Everybody, give your thanks to Chris. Chris was the one who put most of the work behind that to get that together on Sunday.
Yeah, I missed that, and I apologize for missing it. I was wanting to be there, but I ended up my sleep pattern got messed up the last couple nights. I've been staying up really late and sleeping late. But,
Yeah, world was sleeping late.
Yeah, right. I'm getting back on track tonight though. I'm going to bed early, and I'm gonna try to get up early tomorrow and start being getting back on the right track. The 3-day weekend, my wife and I just took a couple of days off and just said screw it. We've been watching Breaking Bad. We went back to the beginning and started watching the whole series.
I've done that with The Office.
I want to do it with Game of Thrones next.
Oh yeah, have fun with that one. The ending and the finale is absolute garbage.
Oh yeah, I've watched Game of Thrones already once, but I want to go back and watch them all again. It's been so long that it's almost like watching it brand new. But yeah, of course, the end and the finale. I didn't watch the last season of Dragons, but that's because I don't have that subscription. And Last of Us season 2 went super woke that it didn't entice me enough to get it, because that's actually what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that to come out, and I was going to watch both at the same time and then get rid of it. But now they got to wait till the next one.
Yeah.
King Solo Wings, you're asking if Breaking Bad has a drop off period? Not that I can think of. I mean, it's pretty much. I went back and watched the first episode, and I'm like, I can't believe all this crap happened in the first episode. So
yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen Breaking Bad. That was.
I gotta say, it's pretty good. Although the wife is so annoying.
Yeah, tell me about it. Oh, the movie, yeah.
The movie? Wait,
Or the series.
The series. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did make a movie, actually.
I thought you were talking about my wife at first. I was agreeing with you, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably not what you're talking about."
Your wife? Yeah, mine too. Wait.
Right. Yep. And guys, just with that, letting you know, you will not see me again after tonight.
I am not Jeffrey Epsteinish. So Alice, blink twice. Blink twice.
That's funny.
Yeah. TNT says there's only a few episodes that disappoint in Breaking Bad, but no single season was a bust that I remember. Yeah. Just like every theories, there's always kind of a reach, like that's not believable. You know what I mean? Type of scenario, but it's fiction. So we're using our imaginations, and it's all for entertainment. So, you know, the worst part about Breaking Bad is that Bryan Cranston is like so anti-Trump. He's one of these fake Hollywood dudes that said he would abandon the country if Trump won, and then he didn't abandon the country. So
Right.
that sucks. But what's that?
Titan showed up for the first time in what feels like 10 years.
Yeah, what up, Titan? He popped in. He was in for one of my solo shows. It's good to see you there, bud.
Oh,
I know
that's
you're working.
where you've been, Titan.
He working
I see how
the busy schedule.
No, I was going to mention like what you had said there with the realism stuff. One thing I noticed actually, and this is a whole different side point, was I was watching this streamer. He does like a lot of video game content, not one of like the brain rot ones that you probably see like online all the time. But he was reacting to a moment in this video game where like some guy hits him with an axe, and he's like, "Oh, I'm dead, and he didn't die. And I think that's one thing that I've kind of realized, right? Like men will point that out, like the realism aspect. When you see somebody fall from a building, you're like, dude, there's no way that guy lived. Right? Like I was the first one to be like, no way that guy lives. And when they get up, you're like, oh, dude, come on, that's so fake. And, like I think there is a point like with violence, with immersion for men, where it's like if something happens where you're like, dude, no one would survive that, and they survive it, you're like, oh, I can't believe this, dude. This is so fake. It's so forced. Like the other scene I saw that happen in was
like Halloween. Michael Myers gets killed at the end of every single one, but there's like 900 Halloween movies.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I love those too. But
yeah. No, well, you have like with John Wick, right? There's like a scene, and I think it's the third one, where the guy who runs the Continental, I think Winston, betrays him, literally shoots him like twice, and then pushes him off a 5-story building. And then you see Wick, the next scene is being wheeled by a homeless guy like down the street. And it's like, bro, there's no way you live from that. Right? Like you should be dead. No way. Unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So what else we got here? President Macron. I was gonna actually read that, but I didn't need to.
No, I know he's got a bulletproof suit. It was more so like falling off a building from that height, like prone and laying flat on your back is like, dude, you at least would have like broken your back. You're not getting up.
The G forces would crush your insides.
Yeah.
A sudden stop at the end, your brain would smash against your skull and die.
And then someone knocks on my door. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, it's John Wick. I get shot.
You just have to roll. When you land, you kind of like dive roll.
Yeah.
And
land with your shoulder first.
Energy just kind of disperses out. It just goes out, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Skydivers could do it too, but I guess they don't know that.
Yeah. What is that game that you do that in often? And it's so unbelievable. Or is it like Dying Light, where you can like jump off like an 8th-story building, and as long as you land on a trash bag, your guy's like, whoa, good. Glad I'm good. It's like, dude, bro, you just fell a bazillion feet from the sky and landed on a bag of trash. Like you would be dead.
That's funny. Yeah, the old tuck and roll.
Yeah, tuck and roll, Grandma.
Yeah, the old tuck and roll. That works for everything. Even if there's like a nuclear, threat of nuclear, you just duck and cover. The duck and cover and the tuck and roll, they're pretty much foolproof when it comes to defending yourself against anything. If you could combine the two. Yeah.
Tuck and roll. The words that every woman past the age of 50 hears when she walks into the surgeon's office. All right, ma'am, this is what we're going to be doing with your cheeks over here.
Right. No, realistically, I think I've told you the story about the guy I used to work with, who actually fell off of like the second floor deck that was like probably 12 feet off the ground. He landed on concrete or pavers beneath. Did I tell you that story before?
Mm-mm.
Oh, and anyways, I had a guy the guy probably should have died from the fall. He ended up recovering. Traumatized me a little bit there, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
when he was going through recovery, he was in like these rehab places, like going through, talking about everything, psychologically and just recovering, and some of the other people that he was in there with were folks that had traumatic brain injuries that had simply rolled out of bed and hit their head on the ground.
Yeah.
It's like,
Can you imagine like waking up from something like that and like you're standing over him and you're like, bro, you should have died.
yeah,
Like, I can't even imagine, right? Being out for what, like maybe 24, 48 hours and then waking up, obviously in pain, right? Probably head like pounding, can't move very well. Yeah, dude, it'd be terrifying. Kind of similar to the Jeremy Renner story, right? He got what? Did he get ran over by like a bulldozer or something like that?
oh
He like,
yeah.
he,
It
like,
was
he died for a couple minutes and came back to life.
yeah, that's the guy that was the superhero. What's his name?
He's the Hawkeye in the Marvel
Hawkeye.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah. He was messing with like, I want to say it was like some type of snow plow. Yeah, snow pusher, snow plow, something like that. Almost
Yeah.
killed him.
Yeah, he
killed him
did
in
a
front of his
recent
neighbor.
he did a sit down podcast with somebody not too long ago. And apparently, well, this is the one thing I remember. Apparently he came back. So this was happening like in the middle of his contract negotiations. So this happened, he comes back, he heals, and they tried negotiating at a lower rate. And though he literally verbatim was like, I'm sorry, no, like, do you think I'm less of a person now that I almost died? Like, I'm not signing for this. It was wild.
That's crazy. Crazy.
Serbian flight attendant. I do remember that. Wasn't it like she got tucked in like one portion of the plane that like ended up like rolling far, far away after it landed? I saw something like that. There's like another one too.
She tuck and
Where-
ducked.
Yeah, tucked and ducked, where somebody survived like a massive fall when their parachute failed. Man, I'm trying to remember that story.
No, it's actually the guy has it on GoPro. I've seen
Yeah,
that. The
where
guy
he
has it
landed,
on
like, into the
GoPro.
trees.
He
That's what
he
saved him.
like he like cannonball. He landed in the field and his parachute was kind of like it wouldn't open, but it had drag, so it slowed him down some.
Yeah,
And he like did a cannonball and like put himself as tight as possible, kind of or whatever, when he impacted the earth. And you see it because it's all on GoPro, right? Like on his head camera. And immediately, as soon as a dude lands, he starts laughing because he basically said it was just the joy of survival, like just his primal reaction of being alive or whatever. It was just a hysterical laugh or whatever. But yeah, I've seen that.
yeah.
Crazy.
Well, they're getting ready to charge another guy. This one was caught on camera with murder, and or maybe it's manslaughter. I think it's manslaughter. And people are probably familiar with the video. It's viral like a couple weeks ago. It's one of those. I think it's parasailing, where the boat takes off and you like go up into the air with like the, that little kind of parachute.
parasailing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I did that in the Bahamas, and I went to grab for just restrain myself. I was in the air and realized it was just a carabiner that I could unhook myself with my thumbs. Very, very low quality safety.
Right.
But I'm
And
sorry I
so-
interrupted you.
Oh, you're good. It's on that same note. This guy apparently, like this worker, like this is a normal practice apparently, but a worker will attach themselves with you, and it'll be like a double stack. So you probably remember the Jurassic Park movie, right? Where there's one guy in the back, and then there's a harness, and then the other person's in front of him.
Yeah.
So apparently, the worker didn't set his up. I don't know if it was that the worker didn't set himself up, or he didn't set up the customers right. But either way, you can see in their midair, you can see the worker pick his life over the other guys and pushes him off, and the customer just drops from like 1,000 feet right into the water and dies.
I remember
And it
that. That
something
was
to
like
do with like
fairly
he
recent.
realized last minute he didn't have a harness, and so he like pushed the guy down so he could slot into the harness himself, and it knocked the guy all the way off. Like, that's crazy and terrifying.
You signed the waiver, man. No, we're not liable.
Right, exactly. That's probably what they're trying to run with too. They'll try to get out of liability.
Tix Bomber says, I watch fat people try to parasail in the Bahamas. They just get dragged across the ocean. The big waves like nearly drown them. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, every so often you're like, dude, what is there's like, is it normal to have 4 eclipses in one day? It's like, oh yeah, they're parasailing over there, man.
I did that when I was in my young 20s, maybe like 24 or 25 or something like that, and didn't have any issues. But so it was pretty fun. But like I said, it was kind of, they just make you sign a waiver, and it's like a piece of paper, sign your name, and then you're like not liable for anything.
Yep.
But
Send them off.
like I said, I went to grab like just the harness kind of right here. My thumb hit the carabiner and like the little thing went in. I was like, oh crap! Like I could literally kind of lift myself up, unhook this, and be unhooked on one of the two things.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. How about we're not gonna do that? You probably gripped even harder. You're like, I'm gonna put my hands elsewhere and not think about that coming undone.
Tix, you probably should have got the camera out for that. No, if you're on vacation, you don't need the camera with you. You don't need your phone with you. Put that thing away.
Yeah, that's generally how I feel too.
So I didn't share the screenshot. Oh, I did it in Discord. Our friend Native Patriot was live earlier today with his Cowboys and Indians show, and they had Tom McDonald on for their Memorial Day stream. And I sent him a message. They were talking about Bongino and the whole Epstein thing and all that. And I sent in my theory that was, if the files still exist, they're just too valuable in the hands, the new hands that they find themselves in for them to be given up, essentially.
Right.
And they put it on screen, but they didn't read it to him. I was hoping they would have read it to him and got Tom's reaction, but still pretty cool as a Tom McDonald fan, as a fan of Native Patriot and their Patriot Prayers Network and everything that they're doing over there. It's pretty cool to be in contact with those guys. Those are our friends. And we're trying to actually, I sent him a text afterwards and said I'd like a few minutes of his time. And we agreed to talk later on here soon about having some back and forth. There's a lot of folks on the Patriots Prayer Network that Native Patriot has built kind of. And so we're going to try to get some of those folks over on our show and have us either as a group or individuals go over on their show. Maybe try to create like a mini, like a minor league Rumble lineup where we can hand off the shows with raids type of thing. Yeah. Just do a smaller scale version of what, Crowder and Tim Pool and things like that have been doing. Just so we can kind of try to help each other out. It's, the main thing is that folks just don't know we're out there and that we're even doing this stuff. And so, brand recognition and working with each other in this space is the best way that we're going to grow, I think. And he agreed that he'll let me know here soon, and I'll reach back out to him someday. I don't like to bother people. Like, I'm not real somebody that pushes into other people's lives, but I did also reach out to Dan McKnight. We saw that. I don't know if you guys caught it, but just the other night on Timcast IRL, Scott Horton was a guest, and it was one of the nights where Tim wasn't there. It was Phil was the dude that was running the show that night, but Scott Horton actually mentioned our friend Dan McKnight's foundation on the Timcast IRL show, which was cool. That's something that we've promoted a couple times on the show when Dan's come and joined us. And so hopefully Dan will join us again one of these days soon. That'd be cool to have him come back around as well. Let us know some of the updates and what he's got going on.
Yeah, Scott even said it was, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically saying that what Dan's doing with the legislation they're pushing, which I believe it was recently passed in Arizona, was what he was pointing to. Said it was, in his opinion, the most important and consequential work anyone in the anti-war movement is doing. So that's pretty big praise for someone, especially Scott, is like a massive figure here in politics.
Yeah.
I know not everybody might not like him because he has a big libertarian bigwig over there. But still, it's good to see, that get pushed. I was kind of thinking too, this is kind of like me thinking out loud with World. I was hoping maybe that kind of opening to who Dan McKnight is and that platform may then turn into Dan McKnight getting an invite to go on to Timcast. And then, man, if we figure out that Dan's going on Timcast, I'm going to be blowing up his DMs. That way even if he doesn't want to say our names on the show, he Freudian slips and he's like, oh, I was watching the Jar Opener podcast. Oh, wait, I mean, even get any kind of like name drop out there would be lovely.
Well, I think we might be the first show that actually had him on. So you never know. He might say, hey, just want to shout out to these other guys, these small guys, small town alt media dudes are out there also doing the thing. And here's a shout out. That'd be dope. I'd love it. Like you said, just the name recognition. We want the Jar Openers to be something that folks have heard about, and so it's just going to come through repetition and time. But that's where we're at, and I love the feedback there from Tix. He said the guests have all been good and fun. are fun and good. TNT backs that up there too. And so, yeah, I've been really happy with some of them. We're trying to get some more guys on. I have a guy actually. He said he's going to come on at the end of June. He does a lot of back end work. He's a professional thumbnail maker. Works with a lot of channels that you guys have definitely seen before. I know he's even mentioned. He mentioned to me the other day he was doing something for Jesse Lee Peterson. So we're gonna have this dude on hopefully at the end of June. I'm not gonna name drop or nothing like that, but it should be a fun one. The dude has a unique story that we'll see if we can get him to talk about. It's an older story, but he was featured on Alex Jones' InfoWars a couple times and stuff for it. And see if we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to having him around, having him come on. He's actually been a big part of my main channel the second part of last year. So that'll be cool. And then some other people as well. Got some requests put out there. Hopefully we'll have Mad News Now come on soon. John Crawford. I know he hasn't been putting out videos on his channel for the last couple of weeks, so he must be busy. But like to see him come back, and some other folks as well. You know.
Right. Yeah. Well, especially with all you guys too. We'd like to actually make this calling thing a bit more of a a recurring part of the show, especially because obviously we'd like to hear from you guys too. Plus, I always love to get the original inspiration from a lot of the old style radio shows. Obviously having segments where people can call in and have a straight up conversation with with us. But yeah, so I'll just mention it one last time because we are getting closer to the end of this. So if anybody would like to come on, just 5 to 10 minutes, or even if you want to do 2 minutes, that's totally fine with us. We'll put you on screen, and it lets us get a trial run because it'll be the first time we've ever actually tried this. Hopefully the sound will be okay and the audio will have no issues.
Right. Yeah, exactly. King Solo Wings, I never get notifications for your main channel, either of us. You won't be getting them from my channel, from America First TV, because I have not been uploading. I've been putting all of my effort into getting the things caught up around the house that I put off the last 2 years while I've been just doing nothing but the channel. So I've had some things add up around here. So I'm just been trying to focus on getting those things nailed down, done. Before the summer gets so hot that I can't do any work outside and stuff like that. But here soon, I do plan on starting to put some stuff back out on America First TV. But in the interim, I really want to get this channel monetized. I love doing this show so much more than I love making my long form videos on America First TV, that I want to get this show monetized. So we got to get to the minimum mark, which is 500 subscribers. We're at like 95, I think, right now. And that's not bad considering we've only been on this channel for a couple months now. We started the shows on our own individual channels, moved it over here. And so, we're on a good pace, but like to see that happen as fast as possible. So then we can, once that happens, then I'll start working back on the other channel a little bit more, and just trying to start pay the bills a little bit better. But
right.
For now, I just want to get this one going. So we're going to start pumping out more shorts. You probably noticed a little bit this last week. We got some, we've been posting segments, we've been posting shorts. Of course, if you catch the show live, it's going to be repetitive. So those of you that are clicking on those videos, certainly we appreciate it. Definitely helps out. And we're trying to do that so that it gives you guys clips of, opportunities where you can share it with your friends that are more specific than just, hey, share with your friends. They come in and we're talking about some random thing that might be pertinent to the show's history, but just not entertaining to somebody on having their first look, which I get it. So, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I've been posting, I think, close to like every 2 days, sometimes a couple of days in a row. I have no idea what's going on with my channel. Looks like I came back from vacation and I got some kind of clamp on mine. House pointed it out to me earlier, I believe, on Discord, that all of the comments under my recent video were all hidden in browser mode, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully, I hesitate to say shadow ban because I feel like that's an easy way to just say, oh, I may, to excuse yourself. Maybe your content wasn't that good, but I don't know. I believe my most recent video didn't even break 100 views, which is like less than 10% of my subscriber base. So I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. It fluctuates, and I will say the guy in the thumbnail is not really recognizable, and sometimes that's enough right there for it to not really
Right.
get the run. But it was a great video, by the way. I like the analysis and your structure to your videos and stuff like that. Yeah, King Solo Wings. You might try to unsub and resub, or maybe like play a video, and it honestly it hurts the channel a little bit if you click a video and then click right off of it. But you might like click a video, let it play for 5 minutes, hit the thumbs up, click another video from the same channel, and then that'll get you kind of back on the suggestions page. I've just noticed that from my own experience. Like I used to watch these guys called Divers React, just a couple guys in their cave divers, and they react to like Mr. Ballin stories or just cave diving channels and stuff like that, which is entertaining to me. Although I'm not a diver at all, scuba diver, but it's still, these guys are entertaining and I like it. And I used to watch them. And then one day I was like, you know what? I haven't seen the suggestion for those guys in a while. And this was just recently this happened. And so I typed them up, went, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're still posting regularly. I went and watched one, hit the thumbs up. And then I'm not kidding you, for like a week and a half, 2 weeks after that, it was my up next suggestion was those guys on that channel for, like I said, a week and a half or so. It's like, holy crap, now they're really trying to force it on me. But I had to look them up specifically and hit the thumbs up and watch some videos and stuff. And then I think it retrained the algorithm to show me their stuff. But I'm subscribed to a lot of people. I subscribe to people just out of support that I don't even necessarily watch their stuff and some of that. But But yeah, Titan, smash the bell. That's for sure. Make sure you guys are subscribed over on. I see we got a lot of folks over on X. I'm gonna ask you guys a favor. If you might go over to YouTube, look up the Jar Openers podcast channel, and give us a sub. It's a free way that you can support the channel, help give away some of Google's money. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys if you take that 2 minutes and do that. Really helps us out quite a bit as we're building the channel we're building the show on a new channel.
Yeah, and House makes a good point too. With the bell notifications, you do have multiple options. I believe you can select it for different things, but there is a select all option. So if you do want to get literally all notifications from anything I do on my channel, that'd be the way to do it. And then if YouTube doesn't do them, then well, I guess we have our answer then, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Tick says, I just leave a comment on one random Atlas video a week or so, and it seems, LOL. Thumbs up everyone's and community's videos. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Tix.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who does that too.
Yeah. Jamie says, smash the bell. Forgot to put all notifications. Well, where are you at, Jamie? Shame on you. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why
Appreciate
I'm
it.
not a millionaire.
I appreciate it. I know. I'm blaming you, Jamie. It's all your fault.
Yeah, right. Listen, I would have been shocked if like getting to 1,000 subscribers for the content that I make. I was already surprising. If I can hit 10K, that'll be beyond my wildest dreams.
You'll get there. You'll get there with a regular upload schedule for sure, bro. The quality of your videos, the editing and stuff, and the time you put into it, it's all quality. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, you're on the right track. You just gotta get more videos out there, basically more shots, and then you get those ones that will end up running up to, your first one that starts getting a couple thousand views an hour will be exciting. I haven't had that thrill for a while. I need to get back to it, to be honest.
Right. Trust me. Let me tell you. It took me 4.5 hours to make that 60-minute video last night.
Yeah.
4.5 hours. And I was going as fast as I possibly could have went without making a big mistake. But it did help getting like audio and stuff cleaned up. That's was an issue that was bugging me down. But that basically got that cleaned up. You can probably tell I changed the way my mic is sitting up too, and like wires as well. So like having that, getting fixed up, it made it super easy. And I do it all with free editing software too. Like I don't even have a subscription anymore to CapCut. So I'm doing all these unique things to get around watermarks and stuff too. But it's it's fun.
That's cool. Tick says, dude, your video edits are way better than a lot of big time creators. You point pop-up things. You do is dope.
That.
Yeah, I think he meant to say the point pop-up things you do is dope. Jamie says, yeah, it is her fault. And by the way, thank you. This is a great compliment. You guys are better than Benny Johnson. You know what?
Yeah,
Wish
I
everybody
appreciate it
knew
very
that.
much. Thank you. It means a lot, especially for the amount of time I put into it as well. I
Yeah.
I basically just, I do things a little bit differently, I guess. Like, I'm probably not similar to even other guys who are in politics. Like, I take inspiration from guys who are making reaction videos about like video games, and I'm trying to apply that to politics because I think that's the one big thing that like we miss in terms of the political sphere, right? You click on a political video, it's so dry, it's so basic, and sometimes it's like not even informational or contextual. It just like is a kind of like reaction to what happened. And I'm trying to like, I guess, like add to that, right? I kind of envision if I was to make a video that Asmongold was to watch and react to, what would I want that to look like? And that's
Yeah.
kind of like my mindset when I'm making this. Like, and I even tagged the guy who I was making fun of in the video last night, which may be part of the reason why I think the video didn't get so much play. Because I'm at the point where like I want one of these guys to look at it. Yeah, post me on your page, you raging leftist. Like, I
Right.
want you to bring your leftist audience and get mad at me. Because any, all kind of engagement is good engagement anymore.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, keep that up. And just so you guys know, his channel is called Atlas Thugged. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button and check out the videos, of course. Make sure you watch every single video, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And you can find my main stuff over on America First TV as well.
Yeah.
All the same things go. The links are in the description, by the way.
Yes. And thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody. It means a lot. I
Yeah.
can tell when I have like 10 likes in like 20 minutes. I'm like, I know where those came from. They came from the Discord community. So thank you very much.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I'd let you guys know too. I'm really excited about doing this What We Forgot Wednesdays. We're going to start implementing a segment. I don't know if it's going to be the whole show or just a segment of the show. Maybe it'll just depend on the amount of things there are to bring up. But we're going to open up a section in the Discord, which is something I meant to ask you about earlier. If you can open up a new section in the Discord for people to suggest ideas for What We Forgot Wednesdays. And it's just going to be relative things of the past that we might have forgotten about that are worth bringing back up and remembering. And so I don't know how exactly it's going to go. I don't think there's going to be a lot of analysis because it's going to be kind of talking about older stuff. But if any of these things apply to what's going on today, we'll certainly get into them as well. Like for instance, I was looking it up today. I think George Floyd died 5 years ago this week. So that'll be one of the topics. We can add in what's going on with Chauvin and the pardons kind of type of thing. So I kind of think that's how this is going to go. But we'll see. And then ultimately, there's only so much history that we can bring up. But I want to keep it fairly relative. I say like George W. Bush and beyond. I'm not going to try to like dig into like in 1955 on this date type of stuff. I think it'll be more kind of things that we've experienced in our lifetime as the culture has kind of taken the big turns over the last 20 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Some of the paths of the slippery slope. You know what I mean? Will actually be. I was thinking that through too. Those will be good little segments. Things that you guys will be able to clip or we'll be able to clip and you guys can share those with your friends. Type of stuff that's, worth remembering and sharing and whatever,
I 5 years ago, gas was $1.89. It's funny because I'm pretty sure, isn't that because in the full picture of Chauvin on kneeling on George Floyd's neck, I think in the background there's a speedway, and on the speedway sign you can see $1.89.
Oh wow.
For gas. And it's like, well, at least we know what the gas was back then on that specific day.
Yeah. Remember the soldier that was in prison in Russia during that WNBA player? Was it? Wait, what does that say?
Yeah, the Merchant of Death, when we traded Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then Brittany Griner comes back and kneels for the national anthem. I don't know if she actually kneeled for the national anthem after that or not, but I know she was a kneeler beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, no idea. One thing I think would be cool too is I believe once we hit 500 subscribers, that's when it opens up, I believe, like the memberships and super chats and something else. Because the one suggestion we have here, because I kept all your guys' suggestions saved. This is from Jamie.
Oh yeah, but the American soldier stayed in Russia. That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Negotiated for the basketball player. Yeah, they couldn't keep the weed pin at home. Biden was so terrible.
Yeah, but Jamie's suggestion was, she wrote, I like how the show is presented. I like how you guys have a script to go by, and it's not so messy like some people are. I think maybe the last 5 to 10 minutes, maybe have a question or comment at the end where we get to speak more with you guys so we can get to know you all a bit better, especially for new people coming in and everything. And so, yeah, we'll try to get better about wrapping up, maybe closer to like the hour and like 50 mark, and not have such a brash or rush kind of ending a wrap up or anything like that. But I also figured, similar like how Timcast does theirs, maybe even save super chats for like the very end, and we readdress those like at the very end of the show in like the last like 10, 15, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. Well, that would make for better segments. I know something I need to get better at just as a host is when we're on topic, for the segments to be nice and clean from beginning to end, I should probably not read chat until like everything's kind of said about it, then go to chat and then discuss. But I'll get better at that as we go along, just for the segment's sake. But I like talking to everybody, and whenever somebody says something funny or good or relevant, I like put it on right away, But that'll also come to, I think, as the show progresses, we're going to inevitably have to have somebody that's directing or editing or whatever that's not on screen. Keeping an eye on chat, looking out for super chats, the better. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's kind of down the road, but we have some
things like that. Yeah,
we have some stuff that we'll grow into.
That's right. That was the other suggestion we got.
What's that?
Was who wrote that one? I think we had a super chat here from Buck. He said, well, he wanted me to put my chest hair away. Okay, done. But he wanted Worrell to prove that he has a wife and that the EV was in fact for her. That was the suggestion we got from Buck.
Yeah,
I did my part.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of these days I'll film her driving off. That way I don't get her face up close.
It'd be like a green screen. Like you're in the back, like, look, guys, I'm here in the car right now.
You guys heard her the other day. I know you guys said she sounded like Alexa, but look, Alexa, she's not in here. She's not in here.
That's funny.
Oh, that's good stuff.
You just have ChatGPT connected to a TTS system. Oh yes, Worrell, I love you so much. Thank you for the EV.
There's my phone. Yeah, she's not in there, but
this EV is totally not gay, Worrell. I love it.
The car is awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
You should not feel bad.
But yeah, we are also, we're always taking criticism. So if you guys ever have show suggestions, feel free to reach out in the Discord.
Yeah.
Tell the missus we're sorry. She's watching. She's monitoring chat.
She knows who you are.
Yeah. You know who she is, but which one is it? Sorry, my nose keeps itching. I'm sure you guys love watching me itch my nose.
Yeah. It's to your content, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clip it.
So this is completely unpaid promotion, but I wanted to throw this out there. hangovergangofficial.com. This is Tom McDonald's website. He always does a thing over the Memorial Day weekend where he donates a big portion of his sales to veterans, and I figured I'd give him a shout out. I saw him on Native Patriot earlier, pushing this over there, and I figured, you know what, we'll give him a little boost. Tom McDonald's a good dude, and for Memorial Day, I'll throw him a little bit extra. So anyways, check that out. Figured I wanted to do that. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got anything else? We might just go ahead and cut her off.
And that will be me. I'm the first furry I meet. I'm gonna know is either you or that other guy who was in the Discord. It'd be like Scooby-Doo episode. Who is this? Show me your face. Then take the helmet off. I know you're not Chuck E. Cheese. Take that off. I'm actually
He
right
says
there.
I can't do the white guy rap. I appreciate his message, but I just can't. You know, he's been making more like kind of country sounding songs lately. So he's trying to get off just the rap genre.
I actually wholeheartedly agree with TNT. I think possibly for the first time. But yeah, and again, I feel the same way, right? Like, I think the message is great and everything, but like him and what's that other one who's popular? The 5EO Foreign. He's the one who does a lot of the Trump stuff too. The Trump music.
I mean, there's some other guys. There's Mises. There's Adam Calhoun. Dudes that are kind of in the same like political sphere. I'm not sure the guy that you mentioned though.
Yeah, 5EO Foreign was the one who did the one with Amber Rose right before the RNC when she got like the nod. I think that's his name. I could be wrong on that. I have no idea.
Right. But yeah, our friend Native Patriot was actually in one of Tom's last videos that he put together. It was pretty cool. He gave him like a few second segment of Native Patriot with his family, like in a picture. It was pretty cool. Talking about you guys are the ones that, I don't know, give him back type of song. It's pretty neat.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what else did we have? Oh yeah.
Yeah, straight white male is what got me on the Tom McDonald when I first heard that one. Sorry, you were saying?
Well, I guess the other big thing, as I looked at the outline for the first time in like 90 minutes, is the big Jordan Peterson crash out. I'm sure people probably seen clips posted online of that too. That one was crazy to me. Jubilee even actually, so let me give you the context. Initial video from Jubilee, they run all these segments like, this person versus 20 of these people, this person versus 20 of these people. Well, this one was supposed to be one Christian versus 20 atheists. Well, what you ended up getting was this absolutely nuclear rebuttal from a kid over Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson refused to say he was a Christian. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't claim it. And eventually you get this kind of, it's like a minute-long video, but the guy, Jordan Peterson basically says, "Oh, you're really something, aren't you?" Because he's getting angry at this kid who's like being basically, in my opinion, civilized in this debate. And Jordan Peterson's getting angry, starts crashing out. The guy says, Jordan Peterson says, "Wow, you're really something, aren't you?" And the guy goes, "Wow, you're really nothing, aren't you?" And then just walks away. They just like end the conversation there. And to me, it's just, again, another, like, you have to be very careful of the people that you follow. And I've always been very critical of Jordan Peterson's unwillingness to go full in on claiming Christianity, but speaking about it all the time. This is subversion. I mean, we talk about it all the time. This is what's subversive, is when you have someone who's not of the faith representing your faith, right? It'd be like, okay, we need to get a spokesperson for white people, right? Okay, who's the blackest person we can put up on stage? It's like, that's, I hate saying like the lived experiences and all that, but the thing is like, you're not a representative of that. So like, you shouldn't be the one speaking for it. And same here, right? It's weird that he comes on and is like, he, with the Bill Maher thing, right? He was talking about how he likes it because there's a lot of good stories in there, but refused to speak to the claim of the legitimacy of it and the realism of it. And then you see similar things here, because the guy was asking him about Catholic doctrine as it surrounds Mary. And Peterson was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about that." It's like, then why would you market yourself as like a Christian leader? And the guy had a great point, which was like, when he got brought onto this debate, right? So some random liberal guy, he was told that the debate setup was one Christian versus 20 atheists. So he prepared material to debate a Christian. That obviously all becomes incoherent if Jordan comes out and says, "I'm not a Christian," or refuses to say he is, and then knows nothing about doctrine, right? The real instance should have been like, have Andrew Wilson take that spot, or have Jay Dyer take that spot. There's a bajillion other Christians you could have picked from who could have represented the faith. And they did change the story in the title too. So they changed the thumbnail. They changed it to Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists. And then the title's now Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists. So they got rid of the Christian part because even to the Jubilee, they were like, yeah, this is nonsensical. If you're not going to claim it, like, we're not going to put this even in the title. It makes no sense.
Yeah, well, this top comment right here from 30 minutes ago says, I don't understand why Peterson agreed to do this. Jubilee changed the video title. Peterson is right. He had never claimed to be a Christian, and he would have known all his opponents would be internet narcissists. I don't know. I just saw the top part and figured I'd read it. But we got to be careful with Jubilee videos. It's only 55 seconds long, but Jubilee does try to copyright everything. So I'm going to keep this small on the screen. It'll be very obvious fair use. But
and the audio is the most important part of this anyways.
Okay, I'm going to let it play all the way through anyways. But here we go.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure,
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
how do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either
it,
you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell
could be-
you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression I
private.
was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something. You are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Wow, you're really quite nothing. Dang. And I kind of see this as Jordan Peterson denying Christ multiple times, right? Given the opportunity and not just saying yes. I mean, I don't know. What do you thought? What are your thoughts?
I mean, how many instances do you think you would be in where someone asks if you're a Christian and you go, well, I need to think about it? Or I haven't claimed that. Right? Like, why else would you say that other if you weren't a Christian?
I volunteer that I'm a Christian quite often when I'm interjecting my beliefs or correction into the conversation, which is quite the opposite of Jordan Peterson here, apparently.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, too, what I noticed in there as well, I see Tix's comments, but the thing to me is, like, I thought the kid was being rather respectful. The first person to cuss in this clip isn't the kid, it's Peterson. It's like the kid's making a great point, which is like, this is what I was told. The debate was I was supposed to be, as an atheist, debating a Christian. Like, what are you then? What is the point of this?
Right.
Right. Like,
exactly.
You know how like insane that would be? And then to me, it's like, this is awful. This makes Jordan Peterson look miserable. And I think on both sides, I think it makes obviously atheists think, Jordan Peterson's is a nutcrack. But on the same side, the dissident right in the dissident right group, the Christian nationalists go, see, we told you, look at how many bad actors claim Christianity, then make us look like fools.
Right.
That was an awful, brutal moment for Jordan Peterson. And maybe he is back on drugs. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's pretty wild. I'm just trying to stay out of the Jordan Peterson sphere lately for the last year or so. It's just been a turn off for me. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it, but I don't know. Ben Shapiro's the same way. But Sarah Stock posted, why is Jordan Peterson trying to represent Christianity when he won't even call himself a Christian? This is so subversive. And then it's a link to the full deal there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he went on the Club Random with Bill Maher, and they talked about religion, and we even played segments of it here. And I believe Jordan Peterson had an excellent breakdown of certain segments, but it's just weird how somebody can be so well versed in some of the things, but then be so shaky on confirming if they're a Christian or not. Like, what do you have to lose? I don't know, man. Like I said, that just reminds me of denying Christ, of what is his name? Peter denying Christ 3 times, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah. 3 times before dawn, right?
Before the rooster crows, right? Something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, but this is like, and that's my point, right? Like, how many other people on this planet? I mean, even if you just look even in the conservative sphere, there's so many other guys you could have went and picked that are vocal Christians. Brother, I would have had Native Patriot go on there before Jordan Peterson did, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Native Patriot's like not going to go, well, I guess I could be called a Christian. Like, no, like, and I think everybody who is like a Christian understands what this means, right? Like they watched Satan work some energy here, and I, not to say like Satan himself actually did it, but just to see like the struggle there of like
Titan, for real. Knowing you from the Discord, bro, send you in there. I'm
yeah,
ready for it.
right. Yeah. I'd say, yeah, that's a great point. I'd send so many other people before I would, and again, it's so bothersome because when you have, for us, we're well versed in this, right? Like people for the most part, the community pays attention to politics. We have a nice understanding of who these political actors are. But take this to grandma on 51st Street. She probably sees Jordan Peterson, goes, Jordan Peterson, Daily Wire, conservative. Oh, yeah, he's definitely a Christian. And then sees this and she's like, this is kind of odd. Or, you go to the left wing, who's not nearly as familiar with the right wing pundits, and they probably have the assumption that Jordan Peterson is Christian just based off his other politics. And then you see this and you go, dude, this was insane.
Mhm.
And just overall net negative look for Christianity. But maybe that was the purpose.
Right. Not liking Jordan Peterson lately. Tix says, it's the whole balloon pop game atmosphere. They want to be nasty and mean. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. But I think that's funny. The guy's like, who the hell am I even debating? Supposed to be debating a Christian. Like,
Yeah.
in the right YouTube video. I mean, that's so funny from this, like, no-name kid, basically. That's one of the 20 debating the Christian. And, I don't know. First of all, I think, I know you got to have some name recognition to brand these types of events. But I mean, like, send, and I don't know, I'm not.
Like Charlie Kirk. Like, even though I disagree on some of his stuff, at least he would have been better than Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, but really not even that. I'm saying send a church, send a pastor in there, send an actual, like, ordained somebody, somebody that's a servant of God for a living to have this argument. You know what I mean? Somebody that kind of has their life on the line as far as their career. You know what I mean? But
right.
It's not
Joe
as
Budden.
marketable if it's pastor ... versus 20 group, 20 it's versus when it's Jordan Peterson instead, I guess, or a notable name.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, TNT, but
Yeah,
like,
an
I could
actual
argue,
Christian or religious scholar. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Tix.
yeah. I mean, I could argue leftist talking points, right? But the reality is do you think the left wants me to be arguing their points? I mean, like, no, because I'm like not the representative. I actually don't believe what I'm saying. Anybody can argue a lot of different points they don't believe in, but that like defeats the purpose of it, right? Like you would want someone who actually deeply believes in these things to be the one to be representative of it. And especially like, what were they having a hard time finding Christians who'd go on the debate? Like I really doubt it, right? We're the party of debate me, right? That's where the conservatives are. Could have had Vadi Bacham, could have had James White, even people like I disagree with would have been better than putting someone who's not a Christian up there. But it's just like, and I think you could flip it on its head a bunch of different times. But I mean, I think again, the overall, and we go into like probably the normie intake of this is they probably do view this and they probably just go like, what even was this? Like what was this minute clip I just watched? Like I don't understand what's going on.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Andrew would go, yeah, Wilson's been there. He was on the team of 20, I believe, debating somebody else. Maybe he did do the one. But it was funny because this happened, and then in the background, and later on did debate Jordan, is the guy I made the video about yesterday. That Parker kid who came up with Dean. He was also at this event.
Okay.
And he had a couple points he laid down on Jordan as well, but I didn't watch the full clip of that one.
King Salome said he did already. I forgot. Andrew. Yeah, he had to go there on a Jubilee debate to debate Destiny. Because Destiny had blacklisted Andrew Wilson from debates, from being on any like shows with him, because Andrew Wilson was just mopping the floor with him, of course, right? And so Destiny was doing the Jubilee event, and Andrew Wilson got himself in the panel, like he was a part of the group. So he got his opportunity to go and sit in front of Destiny. That was good. I tried to make a video out of it. I did actually, but I had to like color embed it so hard it looked like it was one of those like retro 80s or 90s videos, and it was rough. I went ahead and published it because it took so much effort, but I got a lot of flack in the comments about, yo, what's up with the quality? It just was what it was to get it posted. It was getting hit immediately because of the Jubilee thing. Jubilee just claims everything. I hate when people do that. When just like you can fair use my stuff, whatever. It just is what it is.
I always would just, I mean, I had to file a free and fair use suit against SNL. I won that one. I had to wait.
They have 30 days. They have 30 days to respond, and if they don't respond, then you just win the claim. So I'm not sure if that's what happened, but that's how a lot of claims are actually won.
Yeah, because nobody responds.
Anyway, yeah. When he called Destiny a cuck, I peed a little.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny. Even Misfit Patriot.
That's a little too far, Titan. Titan, Google how to delete a YouTube comment and get that off my screen.
That's funny.
I mean,
stuff.
I'm just kidding, but I mean, I guess a little bit, right? I guess he would have at least maybe claimed it. He wouldn't have had no problem, like, saying, yes, I'm a Christian. Yeah. Can we find anybody else who like we can't stand that would have been better than Jordan Peterson, right? But I thought, yeah, moving on, I thought this was a good hypothetical that Tim proposed to David Harris, which again, shout out to David Harris. I believe his father is in the hospital dealing with cancer or something along those lines, very serious. So prayers out to him as well.
Sure, definitely. Also, prayers out for Andrea's dad. I saw that he was in the hospital. I mentioned that earlier. I did acknowledge that. I did see it. I didn't acknowledge it, but yeah.
Yes. Shout out to, you said Andrea's father?
Yeah, I believe that's what I read.
Okay.
I think it was her father. Yep. So anyways, let's go ahead and play this. Presents this hypothetical. Would you hide Epstein's list to save the economy?
Let's entertain a possibility. Let me ask you a question, David. You one day go to the White House, and then you're invited into a meeting where they tell you outright, high-level Trump administration officials are engaged in extremely illegal behavior. They're doing really, really bad stuff. But if you tell anybody, it'll destroy the economy. It'll wipe out everyone's 401ks. It's going to destroy the country. Would you come out and tell everybody the truth?
I mean, that's a hard hypothetical, right? And it's a hypothetical with President Trump. It'd be more logical if I was a leftist or a Democrat and Joe Biden in there. I'm sure they did all that kind of stuff all the time. But it's still a hard hypothetical, and and I don't know if it correlates quite to this because
sure it does.
It's Epstein, who's been dead now for how many years, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of old news, although people still want to know the truth.
All right, let's try this.
It's not going to shift. It's not going to shift.
Sure, economy. Let's say that the reason they're not releasing the files is because the people who are being implicated are high-level executives at some of the Fortune 500 companies. And if the information gets out as to their involvement with children, the stocks of those companies will crumble overnight, wiping out 401ks.
Okay, so it's not Trump we're talking about now. Now it's high-level executives. So again, that makes it more plausible.
Well, no, I'm saying the point is
if they were given the truth, but the truth would actually be catastrophic for the United States of America.
Would they keep lying?
What are your thoughts?
My mind goes to, I think that's actually what literally is happening right now. That's the kind of the vibe. If I was to estimate why we have had such a estranged interaction with the Epstein files, and I think when you look to the fact that they've now opened up 3 other parallel investigations from the FBI. They're now investigating the cocaine that was at the White House. They're investigating the bomb that was there at January 6th, hours earlier. And now they're also investigating, what was it?
The cocaine in the White House. Or is that not the one that you're thinking of?
3 things total. What was the third one? I can't remember what the third one is, but I mean, they're opening investigations, which, I think is good. We should have had investigations into that, already. But again, I think it speaks to like, where's the attention at? Because clearly the American people have an appetite for the Epstein files, but we're getting everything but the Epstein files. And I always kind of had this fear too of, how deep does it actually run? And I think, we went through with Dan Bongino, right? Looking like he's coked out or freaked out. Who knows what's on the other side of that camera, right? Maybe they're just dangling a picture of his family. Like, yeah, say it, Dan, do it. Say it, Dan.
Right.
That's the only kind of, I think, explanation that makes sense to me with how this is being displayed. I think it would have been easier had the files actually been destroyed, that you would have just came out and said, blamed the Democrats, right? And said, dude, they deleted all this while on their way
For
out.
real.
And then you at least have a way to say, this is why we don't have them. And then you put blame on somebody. But they're not even doing that. They're making positive statements now, like with Dan, right? He's saying, oh no, I saw the files. He definitely didn't kill himself, which is a far cry away from where we were at, even just like, 100 days ago. So I think there's something to be said there. And, again, Tim's a little good at the hypotheticals there, right? Because I think that's kind of like what I was formulating in my head. I think I even mentioned that, a couple weeks ago. Like, this makes me feel like maybe they saw it and it's like, here's Trump's name right there under Bill Clinton's. It's like, what do you do? And then he changed it a little bit too, which is like, say it's not even like Trump officials who are implicated. Maybe they make like a cost analysis of the implications of, well, if we do drop this, I mean, has a country ever arrested, 94 CEOs of the top Fortune 500 companies all at the same time? I mean, like, what happens then, right? Then you would be in a very tumultuous period economically, because you would have major companies all shifting all at once, and it could ultimately lend itself to economic turmoil. And so if you give them, in my opinion, if you take that good hypothetical, or I guess the best case scenario hypothetical, and then take it to its best ending, is maybe that they're waiting for the economy to strengthen up a little bit more, and we will get the Epstein file drop later in the administration when they know they have a stronger grasp over what's happening with our tariffs and trade and everything. I mean, optimism there, but again, I really don't know what to think about it. That's where I lean towards that being the case, though.
Yeah. I don't really have much to add to that. I think that's where we're at. Pretty much just
Right.
The hypothetical that Tim or Tix Palmer basically says, yes, hundreds of millions of people would die if the economy crashed. As horrendous as imagining the Epstein depravity, I'd have to begrudgingly pick hide Epstein, right? So, I mean, if it just means that getting the information destroys so much, then you have to take the lesser of two evils, I guess, and side with humanity. And it just is what it is.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think what would change the dynamic of this question is, he's framing it like 401ks and such. It goes back to the age as well. Like, I think
have a good evening, Jamie.
Yeah, take care, Jamie. I think if it was maybe a bunch of 19, 20, and 24-year-olds who come into power in office, right? Say they get voted in, they probably don't care about nobody's 401ks. Like 401ks, brother. Like, I don't even own a home.
Right.
Release clip. Right. I don't know. I think me personally, I am probably a bit more brash, and maybe it would result into some major mass casualty event. But I also do have the belief that the American government is probably the largest terrorist operator in the last 20, 30 years. So I would see it as like, ending a regime. I would do it begrudgingly the other way. How Tick said it, he'd pick hiding it begrudgingly. I would pick dropping it and nuking everything begrudgingly.
Right. Well, I know a lot of the victims would pick that option. They would say, let's just nuke it, bust the bad guys. They're doing evil things not to evil people, to innocent people. So I don't know. I would think that that's the way that the victims would behave, but I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
Right.
Anomaly commented and said, let me wow, I just deleted that, so let me reopen it. He commented and said, they're on a we'll do everything besides give you the Epstein truth tour, I guess. And then this is his response to leading report posting that breaking the FBI is to reopen the investigation into the cocaine discovered at the Biden warehouse. My initial reaction is great. We should figure that out, right? I mean, when somebody brings it into a school or something like that, they try to find out who's responsible for it. I mean, the White House should have a higher standard than that, but great.
Right.
Figure it out, hold them accountable. Don't give us another nothing burger. Okay? Do not give us another nothing burger, because when I see this at this point, I'm saying they're just trying to distract us from something else. And that something else, in my opinion, is the shit that we've declared over and over and over again. We want to know. We want done.
Right.
We want investigated. Like, well, let's give them that. We'll throw them this bone, and we'll look into the cocaine at the warehouse or at the White House. That was a big story back then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna figure out that it was Hunter Biden's, and that he's been pardoned, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I saw a question from Andrea earlier asking, aren't they trying to remove Biden's pardons? And yes, they are going after that, but that's a whole thing that has to do with auto pin. It's probably going to have to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will most likely have to make that decision.
Yeah, Amy Coney Barrett get a chance to shine. She's like, whoa.
Right.
Because I'm siding with the liberal justices for the bajillionth time. Like, oh, that's lovely.
Right, Andrea. It was Hunter's the fall guy for them all. Exactly. Yeah. So, we definitely need those pardons removed. But then, black pill moment. I could see this do nothing Republicans not dragging Hunter or Fauci or any of these people that got these preemptive pardons into Congress and questioning them, right? Or doing anything about it, even if the pardons are lifted. So I don't know. Like I said, that's just kind of maybe the black pill in me, that I'm beginning to set my expectations lower and lower and lower when it comes to not necessarily Trump, but the Republicans in our leadership. But yeah. That's really where it kind of cuts off, is with them. No matter what Trump attempts, kind of cuts off at the Republican leadership in Congress and the House.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elmo, I don't really care about that, to be honest. Most of Congress does it anyways. Look at McConnell's, but yeah, exactly. That's the thing about it, is it's not even really that big of a deal in the first place. Like, it is because it's a narcotic or whatever, right? But it's not like it was found in a daycare, or it was found in a place where it's a bunch of adults, and so it's just kind of like, I don't know. The only reason it was a big deal in the first place was because Hunter Biden was a crackhead, you know what I mean, a cokehead in the first place, and then his dad's the president, and then all of a sudden we find it there. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't even really care that much, to be honest. It's not like it's the first time that it's been in the White House either. I promise you that.
Yeah. Narrative control, right? Keep pushing these stories out. They kind of erode away at people talking about the other stuff, right? Exactly what you said, right? Distract people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sad thing. But you know what? What else we got? We don't really got anything else. I did want to play a couple things from Phil Robertson. Oh, dang it. I hate when I do that. There we go. This is one of the things that he said at a Trump rally a while back.
I got it down to this. If you're pro-God and pro-America and pro-gun and pro-duck hunting, that's all I want.
He said that in 2020 in Trump's campaign. It looks like the 2020 down there. Well, have a good evening, Chris. So you got to go. Yeah, take care, man. Chris. Phil also, he's got a lot of inspirational type of quotes and stuff like that. But this was the actual release from the press release from the family. It says, "We celebrate today that our father, husband, and grandfather, Phil Robertson, is now with the Lord. He reminded us often of the words of Paul, quote, 'You do not grieve like those who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again. And so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him,' end quote. Thank you for the love and prayers for of so many whose lives have been impacted by his life, saved by grace, by his bold faith, and by his desire to tell everyone who would listen the good news of Jesus. We are grateful for his life on earth and will continue the legacy of love for God and love for others until we see him again. The Robertson family, and that's they put 1 Corinthians 2 on there. Yeah, I really like these guys. There's not very many shows out there that exemplify like the family unit in such a strong, unified manner, right? Like most of the stuff out there we see is, I mentioned it before, the women saying, "Oh, I don't want to be a mom, then I have to give up my day job, and who wants to stay home and raise a baby?" And they make dumbass looking dads, and you know what I mean, goofy dads that are inadequate and stuff like that. And so whenever you watch Duck Dynasty, you see something different that went against the mainstream grain, and they were hilarious on top of it. You know what I mean? So it was a good Oh, hey, what's up, Harold? It was a good show. It was one of my favorites. You know, and so I guess we'll probably let's see. Here's another quote from Phil. "I would never treat anyone with disrespect just because they are different from me. We are all created by the Almighty, and like him, I love all of humanity." Let's see, what else do we got here? And then unless you have anything else, I wanted to actually let him end the show in a prayer as he did on many of the episodes. It took me a while to find a decent one. I was trying to find one where he was kind of addressing Memorial Day. I couldn't really find it. I was looking for probably 20 minutes. I couldn't really find anything specific, but settled on this one. And like I said, if you got anything else to say, go ahead and say it, and then I'll let him end us in this prayer, and then we'll just we'll get out of here on this fine Memorial Day evening.
Yeah, nothing else to say besides thanks everybody for being here. Hopefully this was a good spot, 2-hour slot for everybody's Memorial Day. And as always, Christ is King. Banish woman back to the kitchen and deport Cash Patel. That's all I have to say.
And yeah, Harold, good to see you, brother. Sorry you came in right kind of at the end here, but maybe we'll catch you more on Wednesday. But this is Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty.
Thank you, Father, for being there for us. I pray for everyone in this room and that they would enjoy a loving, peace-filled life while they're on the planet. Amen.
Amen. The Bible says to be slow to anger and quick.
And so there you have it. Didn't want to play too much. It is from the TV show, so they would definitely copyright that if you play too much. Otherwise, I would have let Willie finish talking there. But other than that, I'll just say Christ is King. I love all you guys. You guys in chat are the greatest. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday for our first What We Forgot Wednesdays. Don't miss it, and be prepared to share it with your friends. We'll see you guys then.
Have a good night, everybody.
With war, rolling at the start, we here to bring the truth. Jar, open this podcast, we breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up, we won't be swayed. Jar, open this podcast, where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Draw open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Draw open this podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth truth. Joe open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling out the stub, fearless in our release. Joe open this podcast where the lies will decrease.